The night before I left the country, I drunkenly forced a kiss on my arch-rival. Terrified of payback, I stayed away for 3 years. I only dared to come home when I heard he got a girlfriend. But the night I returned, he cornered me at my place. You think you can just hit it and quit? Time to settle this debt. How do you want to settle it? He yanked off his tie with one hand. With your body. Chapter 1. When I heard Elijah had a girlfriend, I nearly jumped for joy. 3 years. I could finally go home. Hot pot, barbecue, big juicy burgers. God, I'd missed you all so much. I dropped my luggage and immediately ordered delivery. 5 minutes after placing the order, the doorbell rang. Already? When did delivery get this fast in China? I rushed to the door. The second I opened it, I froze. Standing there was none other than Elijah. I'd been on a plane all day, barely caught my breath after getting home, and he'd already tracked me down. Wasn't he supposed to be wrapped up in his hot new relationship? Too busy to come after me? Where did the plan go wrong? Elijah was vindictive as hell. I kissed him once, he'd probably want to get back at me 10 times over. My first instinct was to slam the door, but the second my hand touched the handle, his foot was already wedged inside. Our eyes met. I guiltily looked away. Not letting me in? It's not a good time. Why not? I scrambled for an excuse. My girlfriend doesn't like me meeting guys this late. Girlfriend? Elijah stared at me, his eyes growing colder by the second. Since when? 6 months ago. Elijah fell silent. Just when I thought he'd bought it, he suddenly laughed like my having a girlfriend was the most ridiculous thing he'd ever heard. I clenched my fists. This guy was still so damn infuriating. If I wasn't in the wrong here, I'd throw down with him right now and see who'd win. What's so funny? I asked through gritted teeth. Elijah ignored me and walked straight in, moving around like he owned the place. 3 years apart and his nerve had only gotten worse? He used to be so cold and reserved, getting him to say more than 2 sentences was like pulling teeth. I just got back. Can we do this tomorrow? Tomorrow? Elijah sneered. Will you even still be here tomorrow? You're an expert at running away. Well, he had me there. See? The person who knows you best is often your rival. Elijah scanned the room, his gaze landing on my half-unpacked suitcase. His expression turned complicated, veins bulging on his forearms like he was imagining something that made him excited. I followed his line of sight and spotted several pairs of underwear I hadn't put away yet. Don't you have any sense of privacy? Elijah, usually so articulate, actually stammered at the sight of my underwear. It was just underwear. Why was he freaking out? Can't I leave my underwear out in my own home? What, jealous that I'm bigger than you? Being big won't matter anyway, Elijah muttered under his breath. I was pretty sure he was insulting me. I followed him, demanding, "What did you say? Oliver?" Elijah suddenly turned around. I couldn't stop in time and crashed right into him, my lips landing squarely on his neck. I suspected he did that on purpose. But he looked furious, his face flushed red, eyes fierce like he wanted to devour me. Getting forcibly kissed 3 years ago was one thing, but now getting taken advantage of again, I'd be pissed too if I were him. He'd always hated physical contact. Back in school, when I accidentally touched his hand, he immediately looked disgusted and rushed to a faucet to wash it over and over, like I was contaminated. It made everyone look at me weird. I had to walk around him after that, terrified of accidentally touching him anywhere. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. The night before leaving the country, fueled by liquid courage, I grabbed Elijah in a corner and kissed him. I wanted to see if he'd gargle with disinfectant afterward. I still remember how panicked Elijah looked, like a startled rabbit, though his eyes were fierce as he stared at me. Oliver, do you know what you're doing? Lips are made for kissing, aren't they? I'm a man. What a coincidence, so am I. Keep arguing and I'll kiss you again. Elijah shut up, so I got bolder. The next morning, I woke up with instant regret. Pushing Elijah's buttons felt great in the moment, but this was Elijah we were talking about. That cold, composed, uptight guy who always got his revenge. Crossing him never ended well. So I hid for 3 years, only daring to return when I heard he had a girlfriend. Too bad I was still too naive. Whether he had a girlfriend and whether he'd come for revenge were completely separate matters. Why did you kiss me? Elijah's question hit the mark. Caught off guard, My lips trembled uncontrollably. I swear it wasn't from fear. I pushed him away. Being this close was messing with my head. I bit my lip and decided to play weak. Elijah, whether it was just now or 3 years ago, I didn't mean it. If it bothers you, I can apologize or compensate you somehow. Elijah yanked me back, his eyes growing icier. Compensate? You hit it and quit, ghosted for 3 years, and you think I'll just let this slide? Of course he wouldn't. Back in school, anyone who crossed him either transferred or came back to apologize with bruises. I still remember that fierce look in his eyes in the principal's office, and him yelling, "Oliver, why won't you explain? Do you get off on being beat up? Are you some kind of masochist?" I could pretty much imagine how badly this would end for me. Good thing my dad's away on business for 2 weeks, or there'd definitely be hell to pay. I didn't understand why he used the word quit, like I was some deadbeat who abandoned him. And if he wanted revenge, fine, but why was he holding me? Didn't he hate physical contact? Unless his method of revenge was... I suddenly realized something was off and quickly pulled away from his embrace. I thought 3 years would have been enough to cool things down between us. If not, I can hide for another 3 years. Oliver, Elijah suddenly growled. I flinched, forced to face reality. Yes, I admit I kissed you, but I was drunk. You were completely sober. Way taller than me, couldn't you have pushed me away? Or maybe you actually enjoyed it. Do you even hear yourself right now? Elijah was breathing hard, his expression reckless as he shoved me onto the couch. Enough talk. What are you going to do? Elijah ripped off his tie with one hand and coldly uttered 2 words. Physical compensation. Chapter 2. Pay with his body. Make a man pay with his body? Had he lost his mind? I hadn't even recovered from the shock when Elijah kissed me. My eyes flew wide open in surprise. In over 20 years of living, I'd never seen such a scorched earth method of revenge, hurting the enemy while damaging yourself just as much. Could he secretly be in love with me? No, that didn't make sense. He had a girlfriend. And who runs off to wash their hands after being touched by someone they like? Oliver, kiss me back. Elijah's voice was like a devil's whisper in my ear, making my already scrambled brain even more confused. Tingling sensations spread across my body, assaulting what little rationality I had left. Just as Elijah was about to take things further, the doorbell rang. I snapped back to reality immediately, unable to believe I hadn't pushed him away right off the bat. Worse, that I'd actually closed my eyes and gone along with it. I'm straight, for crying out loud. How did one kiss from a guy turn me into such a mess? Especially when this guy had a girlfriend. What difference was there between me and some homewrecker? I glared at the culprit with disgust and silently cursed, "Scumbag." Elijah winced and grabbed his leg. More of a scumbag than you? At least I wouldn't do something like this behind my girlfriend's back. When did I ever have a girl? Before he could finish, the doorbell rang again. Elijah opened the door impatiently. The delivery guy stood there loaded down with bags, complaining, "You order this much food and take forever to answer the door? Dude, you don't look like you can pack it away." But I guess looks can be deceiving. Elijah opened his mouth to explain, but the delivery guy had already taken off. "Baby, I've missed you so much," I exclaimed, rushing toward Elijah. He froze for a second, his expression flickering with panic. And was that a blush? I quickly snatched the food from his hands and made a beeline for the dining table. Right now, any grudge seemed insignificant compared to this feast. I warned him, "Truce for now. Whatever you want to say, wait till I'm done eating." Surprisingly, Elijah actually listened. He walked over to the window, seemingly trying to calm himself down, though his eyes kept darting in my direction. I studied him just as openly. Only now did I notice how his suit made him look even taller, how his muscles rippled beneath his dress shirt. If it came to a fight, I glanced down at my own arms. No way I'd win. Not a chance. I should have signed up for Taekwondo classes, then I could have had him groveling on the floor begging for mercy. The most urgent thing right now was to get rid of Elijah, then plan my escape. Otherwise, if he caught me halfway, who knew what twisted methods he'd use on me? Thinking about how he just kissed me, I scrubbed at my mouth roughly. That gesture caught Elijah's attention. I shot him an irritated look. "What are you staring at? I kissed you a few times. You bit my lip till it bled. Shouldn't that make us even?" Elijah walked over and grabbed a napkin to wipe the red oil from my mouth. Is that the only debt between us? With that, Elijah slowly took off his jacket. My chopsticks nearly clattered to the floor. What else are you trying to do? Look, I was just running my mouth. Don't take it personally. Your mouth sure is tough, Elijah said with a light laugh. Then again, you do love playing the victim. Can't tell good from bad. When trouble hits, instead of dealing with it, you just run. Why was he bringing up ancient history again? So annoying. 3 years ago, the moment he found out I was going abroad, after half a month of giving me the silent treatment, he suddenly appeared by my desk. Going abroad will solve your problems? You planning to never come back? I was working on homework at the time and didn't feel like dealing with him. He suddenly grabbed my arm. Oliver, let me help you. Cut ties with him. No one will ever hit you again. I shook off his hand, finding his words laughable. 2 people still dependent on their families, what did cutting ties even mean? That day I didn't give Elijah an ounce of kindness, even though I knew he meant well. The memory cut off abruptly. I pulled a cigarette from my bag and lit it. I'd barely taken one drag when Elijah snatched it away. Smoke rings drifted through the air. Even squinting against the smoke, Elijah still looked effortlessly cool as he exhaled. A face that distinctive would cause a sensation in the entertainment industry. Back in school, girls from other schools would scale the walls risking broken bones just to catch a glimpse of him. Too bad the guy had never dated anyone. I figured he was too narcissistic, thinking no one was good enough for him. Seeing me lost in thought, Elijah's dark eyes roamed over me restlessly. So, you came back because you knew I had a girlfriend? What else? You think it's because I like you? Elijah froze, not expecting such a blunt answer. You hate me? Dumbass, you're only figuring that out now? Then why did you kiss me? To gross you out. Elijah stubbed out the cigarette. Defeat crossed his usually composed face as he said quietly, I should have known. He grabbed his jacket from the couch and left without looking back. I stood there confused. If I'd known that would get rid of him, why did I waste all that energy? For some reason, I felt completely on edge around Elijah. The guy was used to being arrogant after I'd torn into him like that. He probably wouldn't come back anytime soon. Chapter 3. Late that night, I was lying in bed looking up the fastest flight back when I got a text from an unknown number. Run again and I'll break your legs. No question about it, had to be Elijah. I didn't doubt he meant every word. If he said he'd break my legs, he'd break my legs. I couldn't figure out why he was so fixated on me. Did he really get that much satisfaction from messing with me? Or did he think I'd never amount to anything and would just take whatever he dished out? Furious, I opened the message thread and typed back hard on my keyboard. I'm exhausted from today. I'm not going anywhere. The second I closed my phone, I scrambled out of bed to pack. I'd stay at a hotel tonight and catch the first flight out tomorrow morning. I couldn't stay here, Elijah was too extreme. Sure, I'd run away plenty of times before, but I was no match for his reach. Take this whole coming back home thing, I thought I'd kept it totally under wraps, but he tracked me down immediately. Terrifying when you think about it. With that thought, I grudgingly opened the door. The next second, my eyes nearly popped out of my head. What the hell? There in the middle of the night stood Elijah, dark expression on his face. Did you really think I'd let you run a second time? Who doesn't sleep at night and camps outside someone else's door? Are you insane? Ignoring my protests, Elijah just hoisted me up and carried me toward the bedroom. Oh God, was he actually going to break my legs? Seeing my limbs were about to be in serious danger, I threw caution to the wind and started cursing. Elijah, put me down. Don't think having money means you can do whatever you want. This is illegal, you know. You better kill me, because otherwise I'll never let this go. As I struggled, I knocked into a picture frame on the wall. It fell and nearly hit my arm, but Elijah caught it with lightning reflexes. The guy was naturally athletic, always a step ahead of everyone else. Elijah frowned and grunted. The palm that caught the frame had turned bright red. Before I could struggle more, he threw me hard onto the bed and pinned my wrists so I couldn't move. Elijah's expression turned playful. Still want to run? Weren't you the one who said you'd make it up to me? Do you seriously think your idea of making it up is the same as mine? I think it is. Well, I changed my mind. Okay? No. I'm warning you, Don't try anything. Or what? Elijah slowly leaned closer to my lips. Will you cooperate? Shameless. I snapped at him. Elijah pressed down harder on my wrists. Don't move. I have something to show you. My face went red. Had Mr. Ice Cold turned into a total creep in the 3 years we'd been apart? But then he suddenly changed course, carefully pulling out a pink envelope from inside his clothes and looking at me seriously. Oliver, I've been thinking. I don't think you're right. If you hated me, why would you give me a love letter? Love letter. He'd stormed off earlier just to go get this? But when had I ever given him a love letter? Had he lost his mind? When was this? Don't deny it. I recognize your handwriting. Oh hell no. I wasn't about to accept this. Did I write a love letter or didn't I? Like I wouldn't know? I shoved Elijah off me and snatched the pink letter from his hand. When I opened it, lines of embarrassingly passionate text stared back at me. I awkwardly rubbed my temples. I wrote the letter. Elijah's furrowed brow relaxed, but the next second his smile froze, because I said, I wrote it. But you weren't the person I meant to give it to. Not me? What do you mean? I don't know how this letter ended up in your hands, but I'm absolutely certain it wasn't meant for you. Why should I believe you? Think carefully aside from that time I kissed you. When did I ever act like I liked you? So all these years, I've been fooling myself. I didn't say anything. Elijah's eyes suddenly welled up with tears. He turned away, not daring to look at me, this guy who was always so composed. I suddenly felt guilty. Looking down at the perfectly preserved envelope in my hands, a strange thought occurred to me. If this had ended up with the person I'd actually meant to give it to, would they have kept it this carefully, handling it so gently when taking it out? The answer was probably no. I'm sorry. I apologize for how reckless I was back then. I took a deep breath and looked at Elijah. If I could do it over, I wouldn't do something like that again. Elijah said nothing. His back no longer looked so imposing. In that moment, I finally understood just how dark these past 3 years must have been for him. When I drunkenly kissed him and he didn't resist, he'd been accepting my confession. That's why he felt like I'd abandoned him. From his perspective, I was worse than a jerk. If it were me, I'd be angry enough to strangle the other person. But all he did was turn around. Eyes red. Then who did you mean to give it to? I didn't want to dredge up the past, so I didn't answer. Elijah left, looking dejected. Part of me felt guilty, but another part felt relieved that the misunderstanding was cleared up. At least I didn't have to worry about Elijah coming after me anymore. Even though it was selfish, after growing up constantly afraid and being beaten for every mistake, all I wanted now was a peaceful life. Chapter 4. About 10 days after returning home, I posted an update with a domestic location tag. My friend James immediately messaged me to grab drinks. After 3 years apart, James had put on quite a bit of weight. I almost didn't recognize him. Dude, this is happy weight. Your sister-in-law's cooking is amazing. You should come over sometime. I'll definitely take you up on that. James threw his arm around my shoulders. Real talk. Bro, did you date any foreign girls? I took a long swig of beer. They weren't interested. No way. You were the hottest guy at our school. So many people wanted to date you. Hottest guy? What kind of way is that to describe a dude? James laughed good-naturedly, then raised his glass with a serious expression. You're still hung up on her, aren't you? My hand froze. That's ancient history. Besides what? I think I really hurt someone. James slapped my shoulder excitedly. That's my boy. So are you into this person? It was just a misunderstanding. I don't think he actually liked me. He thought I liked him. So Wait. Someone would only like you if they thought you liked them first? Does that even happen? I don't know. I've never been able to figure him out. Why don't you two give it a shot? He has a boyfriend. I'm not about to be the other man, no matter what. James gave me a thumbs up. That's my bro. Let's drink to that. Enough about me. What about you? Why'd you get married so young? You have no idea how adorable my wife is. I want to be with her 24/7. With her around, I have energy for everything. I don't know how I'd survive without her. The happiness on James's face was enviable. So get this, once James got started, there was no stopping him. 2 cases of beer later, I'd heard all about his last few years. When we were thoroughly drunk, James's wife called to remind him to come home. He agreed immediately. I pulled out my phone and stared at the blank screen, feeling inexplicably sad. The world was so big, yet there wasn't a single person who truly cared about me. Pretty pathetic when you think about it. Suddenly my phone rang. Who would call me this late? I answered in surprise, and Elijah's voice came through. Oliver. I thought he wouldn't reach out again. I responded quietly, "What's up? Where are you?" I didn't answer, feeling that continuing this would be bad for both of us. "Can we meet? I need to talk to you." "Elijah, this is pointless." "Stop. Babe, I'm at the barbecue place on West Lynn Road." "Yeah, the one by campus." James suddenly chimed in from beside me. "You've been drinking?" "A little. Wait for me. I'm coming to get you." Before I could refuse, Elijah hung up. "Who was that?" James looked curious. "Just a friend." After settling the bill, James insisted on waiting until I got in a car before leaving. He said his wife taught him that if he listened to her, she'd love him even more. After some back and forth, Elijah finally arrived. He drove that flashy car of his, the engine noise particularly jarring in the night. I had to admit, he really knew how to draw attention. I felt a twinge of jealousy. I remembered in high school, at a classmate's birthday party, everyone's gifts were under 500 yuan. He was the only one who gave a designer item worth over 10,000 yuan, making everyone uncomfortable. After that experience, I didn't invite Elijah to my birthday. Though it caused some unpleasantness later, I genuinely couldn't afford to have him there. "Oliver," James called out. "What are you spacing out about?" I snapped back to reality. Elijah's car had already pulled up to the curb, instantly drawing everyone's attention. The previously noisy barbecue joint suddenly went quiet. Elijah slowly opened the car door and stepped out with effortless cool. "Barbecue shop owner. Now that's a nice car." "Owner's wife. And what a handsome guy." James. "Wait, isn't that Elijah? People at school talk about him like he's some kind of legend. He eats barbecue too? What a coincidence." "Quite the coincidence. Did you two have beef back in school?" "More than beef, we nearly crossed a line we shouldn't have. I remember after you went abroad, he asked me about you. Actually, he asked a lot of people from our class. Did you borrow money from him and not pay it back?" Before James could say more, Elijah had already walked over. "Did you drink a lot? Your face is so red." Elijah looked at me with concern. I glanced at the still stunned James and answered vaguely, "Not much, just a few bottles." Elijah looked skeptically at the table full of empty bottles and pile of skewer sticks. "I'm not great at math, so I can't count bottles." I awkwardly rubbed my nose. "Just stop. Don't say anything. Can you walk on your own?" "Of course." I quickly walked to the passenger side. James's expression seemed to ask, "Since when are you and Elijah so close?" This was impossible to explain. Before we left, James leaned toward the car window. "Bro, my wife has a cousin who's really pretty. Want me to introduce you to?" I smiled through gritted teeth. "After talking for hours, you're only mentioning this now? I was just so happy to see you. How about this? I'll get you her contact info when I get home. Make sure you add her." To get rid of James quickly, I agreed. "Fine, fine, fine." When I turned around, I found Elijah gripping the steering wheel in silence, his knuckles white from the pressure. I didn't dare ask. I could only quietly buckle my seatbelt, hoping he wouldn't floor it. I got carsick easily when drunk. Elijah snorted coldly and started the car normally. I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Looked like the misunderstanding was cleared up, his mood wasn't affected, so I wouldn't have to suffer. He came to find me probably to talk things through properly, and after that we'd go our separate ways, right? With that thought, I relaxed and closed my eyes. Before long, my stomach started feeling uncomfortable. I just wanted to get home and sleep. "Can you drive faster?" Elijah gave me a "you asked for it" look. "Not afraid of throwing up? If I puke in your car, I'll pay for detailing. Like I care about your money. What did I do to offend you this time?" I couldn't stand Elijah's superior attitude. Emboldened by alcohol, I reached over and patted his face. After the crisp sound, Elijah glared at me in displeasure. "Don't touch me." Oh right, I forgot he hated physical contact. Your Highness, we're not teenagers anymore. Do you have to be so prickly? So you go on blind dates instead? Think my words are too harsh? Would someone with nicer words come pick you up in the middle of the night? The topic shifted so abruptly that I got nervous, and my stomach started hurting again. Seeing this, Elijah pulled over to the side of the road and asked with concern, "Stomach acting up again?" I nodded. Don't have the constitution for it, but got the disease anyway. Stop talking. Save your energy. Elijah opened the car door and hurried toward a nearby shop. A few minutes later, he returned carrying a plastic bag. I opened the car door to get some air, but Elijah beat me to it. He opened the door first, pulled medicine from the bag, twisted open a bottle of water, and held both out to me. It's late. This is all they had. I took the medicine, my reaction a bit slow. Thanks. Chapter 5. After taking the medicine, I leaned back in my seat, feeling dizzy. The early autumn evening breeze felt cool against my face. See? Times like this, I wish I had a girlfriend to care about me too. What about a boyfriend? Elijah suddenly leaned in closer. Oliver, if you'd let me, I'd treat you better than anyone else could. Save it. Keep those feelings for your girlfriend. I turned my head away. Elijah crouched down and gently turned me to face him. Oliver, I don't have a girlfriend. For 3 years, I've been waiting for you to come back. You don't have a girlfriend? Who are you kidding? I only came back after making sure you did. Would you have come back if I hadn't said that? So it was all you're doing. No wonder you showed up right after I got back. I was so angry I wanted to stomp my feet. If I hadn't been weakened by alcohol, I would have kicked him. Elijah lowered his head toward me. Go ahead. Hit me. I just couldn't. Forget it. I have no right to hit you anyway. Just get in the car and take me home. Oliver, I want to go home. The whole ride, I kept my eyes shut tight, barely breathing, terrified Elijah would realize I was faking sleep. Who could understand? My rival from 3 years of high school just confessed to me and he's a guy and my first reaction was actually being moved. Then surprised. I must have been single too long. Everyone started looking good to me. Deep down, I knew he didn't really like me. He just couldn't let go of those 3 years of waiting. After the car stopped, Elijah turned off the engine, looked at me for a moment, and asked quietly, if that thing hadn't happened, would you still have gone abroad? I wanted to tell him I would have left anyway. Everyone handles problems differently. I don't need others to understand. I was figuring out how to naturally wake up when Elijah already opened the car door and lifted me out. This was so awkward. My heart was pounding like crazy. When Elijah reached the door, he adjusted his hold, bringing my face just inches from his neck. One bigger step and we'd be touching. My nose was filled with the scent of his body wash. It was too late to fake waking up now. I had to keep pretending, letting a single guy carry me home that doesn't violate any moral code, right? Somehow, 1 second I knew he wasn't single, and the next I was overthinking everything. This emotional shift was so fast, even I found it strange. The elevator doors opened to reveal a couple inside. I was grateful to be asleep or I would have died of embarrassment right there. When the couple saw us, the woman tugged her boyfriend's sleeve excitedly. Look how he treats his boyfriend. And look at you complain after carrying me for just a minute. Why doesn't he get tired? Babe, don't compare us to them. They're clearly newly together, still in the honeymoon phase. Give them time. As long as he wants to, I'd let him carry me anytime. The woman looked absolutely delighted and playfully hit her boyfriend a few times. I wanted to crawl into a hole. God help me. Why was he saying such cheesy things to strangers? Finally, the elevator doors opened. Elijah walked out under the boyfriend's disapproving gaze. I felt rescued, but then a new problem emerged. My keys were in my pocket, and these loose pants I wore today meant the keys had already slipped to an awkward position with Elijah holding me like this. What if he felt them? The next second, the door opened. Wait, what? He has my house key? Is he some kind of creep? No, wait, my place doesn't have lights this bright, doesn't smell this good, and the walk from living room to bedroom isn't this long. This isn't my apartment. I snapped my eyes open, meeting Elijah's knowing gaze. You weren't asleep? Caught red-handed. I answered awkwardly. Just woke up. I don't have your key, And you fell asleep, so I had to bring you here. Elijah looked innocent, but I'd clearly seen him smirking in the elevator. Got it. I climbed down from Elijah's arms. Well, I have stuff tomorrow. I should head back. Too nervous. I tripped and fell face first onto the bed, my backside facing him, looking completely intentional. Great. Even with 1,000 mouths, I couldn't explain this away now. How was this any different from having Elijah come seduce me written on my forehead? How humiliating. Elijah helped me up. Looks like you can't leave after all. I can walk. Elijah pressed his lips together, his eyes full of temptation. Oliver, your lips are dry. Want me to help you with that? As he spoke, his hand traced my lips. I want to kiss you. I froze. Or do you want to kiss me? I felt my face flush, my heart race, my ears burn. Elijah kept pushing. Don't you want me? A voice in my head screamed. Yes, I want to kiss him senseless. So I kissed him. I'm only in my 20s, how could I resist this kind of temptation? Whatever consequences come later, I couldn't think about that now. Pleasure first. Elijah was stunned by my kiss. Once he recovered, he pushed me onto the bed and kissed me back fiercely. When we were both breathless, he pulled back slightly, eyes full of longing, seeming to want more. He promised, Oliver, whatever you do to me tonight is completely willing. I won't hold you accountable afterward, and I won't force you to be with me. Elijah, we're both guys. I know what you want. You don't need to sweet talk me. Just do what you want. Then let me have this once, and you can do whatever you want with me after. So this was his game. You can't mess with power dynamics from the start. I've got my pride. No way. Elijah cut me off with a kiss. It's fine. No one else will know. In my heart, you're the top. Really? Elijah nodded. Whatever. I can't think about all that now. Chapter 6. Exhausted to the point of collapse, Elijah finally stopped and fell asleep within moments. My whole body ached, and though I wanted to sleep, I couldn't. Elijah's arm was wrapped tightly around my waist, making it difficult to even turn over. All I could do was tilt my head up toward the dim lamplight and gaze at Elijah's refined features, which suddenly brought back memories of what happened after that high school birthday incident. I never invited Elijah to my birthday party. The next day, news that I was isolating Elijah spread throughout the entire high school. The way Elijah looked at me changed from how he looked at others. There was disdain and defiance in his eyes. I couldn't be bothered to explain. It was better this way for our relationship to fall apart. Rich kids like him had always looked down on ordinary people anyway. 2 days later, my homeroom teacher called me in for a talk and brought my drunk father along. Without a word, my dad beat me up, yelling that I'd gotten too big for my britches and had learned to bully people. When Elijah found out, he burst into the teacher's office, grabbed my father's hand before he could hit me again, and shouted, Oliver didn't isolate me. The other students were making things up. You didn't even ask before hitting him. Do you do this to him at home too? Hitting your own child is domestic abuse. Don't you know the law? Student, the teacher tried to smooth things over. Teacher, domestic violence is happening right in front of you. Why aren't you stopping it? Both the teacher and my father froze, mouths hanging open, unable to speak. Elijah turned his fury on me. And you, why won't you explain yourself? Does getting hit feel good to you? Are you some kind of masochist? I said nothing, just pushed past Elijah's shoulder and left the office. If you haven't lived in my situation, no amount of righteous words can actually help. Sure enough, because my dad felt humiliated during the day, he beat me again that night when we got home. Rather than confronting him head on, the way for me to fight back was to meet his academic expectations so he'd send me abroad to study. After that, Elijah's disgust toward me deepened, and he refused to say a single word to me. I threw myself into my studies, just wanting to escape as quickly as possible. I never imagined that after going abroad, I'd actually miss those days back home. Except for my father's vicious face, thinking about that still fills me with revulsion. He raised me, and I'll fulfill my obligations to him, but I'll never forgive him for as long as I live. The next morning when I woke up, it was already broad daylight. Opening the bedroom door, I saw Elijah coming out of the kitchen with a bowl of steaming hot porridge in his hands. When he saw me, his smile was radiant. Just one night, and the aloof God had transformed into a domestic husband. "You're up." Elijah gestured for me to sit down. "You mentioned wanting porridge last night." I awkwardly took a seat, not daring to meet Elijah's eyes. The madness of the previous night was still vivid in my mind, making my legs tremble involuntarily. I scooped up a spoonful of porridge and put it in my mouth while Elijah watched me expectantly. I gritted my teeth and went against my conscience with 2 words. "It's good." Elijah smiled. Did he have no sense of taste? This wasn't soup. How much flavor could it possibly have? Run. As soon as I finish eating, I'm out of here. No stopping. I'm never dating anyone again. Just as there was only a little porridge left in the bowl, my phone on the table started ringing. When I opened it, I regretted it immediately. It was a voice message from James. I moved to close my phone, but Elijah stopped me. "Play it." I clicked on the voice message, and James's booming voice sounded especially grating. "Bro, I gave you the number. Remember to add them." I smiled awkwardly. A few seconds later, another message from James came through. "I guarantee you'll be shocked when you meet them in person. Don't thank me." "Bro, why aren't you replying?" Bro was currently pinned to the table and couldn't reply. The fury in Elijah's eyes was about to burst forth. "Me or her you choose?" In this situation, did I dare choose anyone else? I gritted my teeth once more. "You." Elijah smiled with satisfaction. "Good boy." Then he picked me up and carried me to the bedroom. That day, I never left the bedroom. The next day, I literally slept like the dead. To summarize, dating can kill you. Everyone proceed with caution. On the 3rd day, Elijah took the key to my place, and 2 hours later, he came back lugging 2 suitcases. Dating means no freedom. Everyone proceed with caution. When do you have time? I want to transfer the deed of this apartment to you. Are you crazy? Won't your parents kill you? This is money I earned myself. It has nothing to do with them. Elijah pulled me to sit on the couch. I didn't have the means before, and I naively thought I could help you back then. Now that I do have the means, I want to give you everything. Oliver, don't go back to live at that place anymore. No one gets to hit you, not even your father. I know. Don't be afraid. I'm here now. Those darkest days of your past, I'll make it up to you from now on. Elijah's gaze was like a searing light, slowly illuminating the most unbearable corners deep within my heart. Chapter 7. A week later, I landed a pretty good internship. The only problem was the constant overtime, which meant I sometimes ended up neglecting Elijah. At first, he was understanding, but after a while, he started getting moody about it. I was drowning in work stuff and didn't have the energy to deal with his feelings, so we ended up having a huge fight. He questioned whether I actually loved him, whether I was just with him out of pity. I wanted to explain, but for some reason, I couldn't get the word love to come out of my mouth. Maybe it's because I never experienced being loved as a kid. Now that I'm grown, I don't know how to express it. Today, I got off work early for once, so I figured I'd sit down and have a real talk with Elijah. But when I called, he didn't pick up. Was he still pissed? Then I got a text from James. "Hey man, you free? Need to talk to you about something in person." James rarely used that kind of tone. Did something happen with his family? I rushed over to meet him. It was at a coffee shop. Since when did this guy drink coffee? Something felt off. Confused, I walked in, and halfway there, I spotted someone I hadn't seen in 3 years. She was sitting quietly by the window, her face serene and gentle, exactly like I remembered. I called out, "Sophia?" The girl turned around and smiled. "Oliver, long time no see." Sophia, a girl 1 year below me in school. Also my old crush. Back then I was too insecure to confess. I finally worked up the courage to write her a love letter, only to find out she already had a boyfriend. I was heartbroken for 6 months. I don't even know where I tossed that confession letter. Maybe that's when it somehow ended up in Elijah's hands? What a coincidence. Not really a coincidence. My brother-in-law arranged for us to meet. Brother-in-law? James is your brother-in-law. Sophia nodded, her smile still as sweet as ever. No wonder he said I'd be surprised. Small world. I heard you just got a job. How's that going? Still an intern. Not planning to go abroad anymore? I shook my head. The whole prestige thing didn't pan out and the pay's pretty low. No point in going back. I see. It's good you're back home, though. As we chatted, it was getting dark outside. When Sophia saw I was about to leave, she seemed to make up her mind about something. She grabbed my arm and stammered, "Oliver, I heard you don't have a girlfriend. What do you think of me?" Being asked that by someone I used to have a crush on, I was stunned. Back in the day, just talking to her would make me happy for half the day. People living in darkness always fantasize about pure, beautiful people and things. "Why aren't you saying anything?" Sophia looked at me, blushing. "Because he has a boyfriend." A cold voice cut in. I turned around. Elijah was standing behind me, putting his hand on my shoulder with a fake smile. "Aren't you going to introduce me to her?" I laughed awkwardly. "What are you doing here?" "Don't change the subject." "That's not what I meant. I just thought since she's a young woman, I didn't want to freak her out. Didn't know you were such a gentleman." "You're not like that with me." "Oliver, are you too?" Sophia looked at us innocently with those big eyes. Quickly waved my hands. Before I could finish, Elijah planted a kiss right on my face. "He's gay. Get it?" In front of everyone, Elijah dragged me out of there. The whole way he didn't say a word. His silence was terrifying. "Look, don't tell me you're having regrets again. I'm not that irresponsible." "Is that her?" Elijah shot me a glance, fuming. "Who?" "The one you were going to give that love letter to. You knew. Your eyes were practically glued to her. That was all in the past. I'm over it." "If you're over it, why meet up with her?" "James set it up. I didn't know it was her. If I'd known ahead of time, I definitely would have asked you first." "Such a great explanation. So why didn't you tell her about us just now? Planning to dump me and get with her? Just calm down." "How am I supposed to calm down? You liking me was a misunderstanding, but liking her is real. The person I like now is you." Elijah was red with anger, but when I said that, he was so shocked he almost forgot to blink. "What did you say?" I repeated slowly and clearly, "Elijah, I like you." "Say it again." "I like you." Elijah smiled, pressing his lips together. "Sweet talker. I'm telling you, once I latch onto someone, you can't shake me off." "I can see that. But I don't want to shake you off. I want to be with you forever." Chapter 8. Elijah's actually pretty easy to win over. The moment we walked through the door, Elijah couldn't wait to pull me into the bedroom. His kisses landed all over me, and as our breaths intertwined, he murmured, "Oliver, there's something I never told you. I've had a thing for you since high school." "High school? How old was I back then, and how old were you?" I raised an eyebrow. "I don't care how old you were. I was old enough to know what I wanted," he said with a mischievous grin. "Shameless." I couldn't help but call him out. "Remember that time you accidentally touched my hand?" he suddenly asked. I gritted my teeth. How could I forget? I'll remember that for the rest of my life. "My palms were sweating like crazy because I was so nervous," he explained. No wonder he'd suddenly run off to wash his hands. I reached up and squeezed his neck. "You really screwed me over back then." Elijah yanked the blanket off me. "Then let me make it up to you now." Just as things were heating up, my phone on the nightstand rang. It was James. Elijah motioned for me to answer. "Hey, what's going on?" "Sophia said you're with some guy now. Is that for real?" James's shocked voice came through the line. "It's true," I answered calmly. "Holy shit. Who is he?" "Elijah. What did you just say? You're with him? Did I hear that right?" James's voice shot up. "You heard right. He's been crushing on me all this time," I said, emphasizing the words deliberately. James's roar erupted from the other end. I quickly held the phone away from my ear. "Dude, I'll buy you dinner and explain everything later. I'm kinda busy right now." After I hung up, Elijah was grinning so wide his smile practically reached his ears. Afterward, he held me close and said in a sickeningly sweet voice, "Baby." I nearly gagged. Was it too late to back out now? If you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.